Well, I'm Julia, and I'm excited to be talking to Aly and AJ. I'm sure you guys hear this all the time, but I loved your music growing up. So this is really exciting for me to get to talk to you guys. And of course, all the new things that you have had going on in 2023.
Thank
Oh,
you.
thanks. Thank you.
With Love From, the album has been out since March. You're on tour. How has all that been?
It's been amazing. The album still feels really fresh to us, although since then so many albums have released. So it feels like, time's gone by and it's been a bit, but I also feel like it's really fresh in our bodies still. Like we're able to still tour the show and it feels new. And I think that this particular live show of ours is really special. I think we've grown a lot as musicians and live performers and just our confidence on stage. And the April run was really special. And I'm looking forward to this September tour. It's only 8 shows, but it's kind of going to round out the With Love From cycle. And this album is really important to us. So I wish we were playing like
Another 50
80 shows this year, but it's we played a lot last year, so we mellowed out this year.
Yeah. Well, and I love how the album starts. Like fresh is a good word for it because when I heard it's interesting how like sonically it sounds kind of like classic in a way. It kind of reminded me of like ABBA and with this country twang to it, but it like felt so fresh for you guys. And I love that. Like, how was it deciding where you wanted to go with this album sonically?
Well, I think we wanted to leave, where we left off with The Touch of the Beat was kind of where we wanted to jump off from. So I think for us, we wanted to make a record that felt like they could be played back to back and it still made sense sonically. Yeah. But I think for us, we approached this record a little different from A Touch of the Beat. And I think part of that was the fact that we recorded this album with our band live and we recorded the vocals live at the same time, which I think just gives a different like kind of live aspect to the record.
Yeah, it's really cool. And I feel like it just doesn't really happen as much anymore.
It doesn't. And I think also coming from like the pop world, which is, where we kind of made our first few records, we were so used to like really perfecting the comps that we would choose as our vocal takes. And this time around, like we sometimes only had like 4 or 5 takes to choose from as opposed to like 30. Yeah. And I think that it just made us choose vocal takes that were not perfect and felt like a live take, as opposed to like combing over it and making it this like perfectly sung in tune thing. And I think that really lends itself to the style of this album.
I loved how chaotically long the last album's title was. Was there a longer form of this one that you guys were like, maybe we should do something shorter?
This one, it wasn't a natural idea. Like it didn't come to us like the other one did. We weren't trying to come up with a really long title. It just happened to be one of our favorite lyrics from the record. And it really summed up where we were emotionally during that time. So It was all about getting out and into the sun. And it's such a kind of, I don't know, I think it's a beautiful statement around that album. But I also was like, we don't have to do that again unless it comes naturally. And it didn't for this record. So With Love From felt like a nice, short and sweet kind of postcard love letter to our fans and something that we thought tied up this album really well.
Yeah. Well, you said tour has been treating you really well, which is great to hear. Whose tour has impacted you the most in the way maybe you guys show up and perform?
Oh, that's a great question.
Yeah, that is. Well, we just saw My Morning Jacket the other night at the Hollywood Bowl with Fleet Foxes, and it was
I just got chills thinking about that.
It was incredible.
Crazy.
It was also cool that we saw them, in advance of our shows coming up, because I think that whenever you see a live show, like it seeps into you in some way, even if it's subconscious. But we've been big My Morning Jacket fans for, a long time now. I think we started listening to their music in like, I don't know, when I was like 17, 18.
Yeah.
And so I think they've definitely influenced our music. We had the same lighting director, so we went to support him and then obviously just being fans of the music. But I think there's like an array of artists over the years that we've seen live who have really inspired us, from the National to Feist to Ray LaMontagne. It's
War on Drugs.
Yeah, it's always been something
that also Incubus, good. Could they just do a music festival?
I know, right?
Yeah, truly.
That'd be crazy.
That'd be amazing. Yeah, we've got a lot of live shows this year, and I always love seeing people live before we go out because I actually do think it seeps into you.
Yeah, and I think you get ideas too from the show. It might not be exact, but it might inspire you to be like, we should think of our set list in a different way. Or I really love how they did that encore, and it happened to be, slower songs that you know, people were able to sing along with. Like whatever it is, I think there's something you can take away from every show and learn from. So yeah, I think that's why it's important to see live shows as an artist.
Yeah. Well, and the music, like the evolution of your music has changed so much. Like now there's themes of love and mental health and personal growth. And, you know, not only being sisters, but also working so closely together. What's been the coolest transformation that you've seen within each other while on this journey of music?
I feel like we've kind of come into our own a bit on like what we know we do best in the band. You know, like when we were younger, we weren't as aware of that. And probably it was good because we just made the music, didn't think that deeply about it. We were only kids, you know, whereas now I feel like we kind of have our like roles in the band. And I think that's really beautiful that we know, you know, one of us might be better at something than the other. And that's great because we don't want to do this alone. You know, we want to do this together as a duo. And I think that's part of the magic of Aly and AJ as a band.
Yeah, and it is cool. It's hard when you kind of are always in it together because it's hard to see growth when you're living it every day. It's hard to kind of see how it's changed. But I do think as like songwriters and performers and vocalists, we've grown immensely. Like I've seen Aly grown, I've seen myself grown. And I think it's beautiful because you see what it takes to start at such a young age. And then where you've gotten to now in your 30s is such an interesting place that I don't think we would be at if we hadn't started. So young.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's really, I've definitely seen it.
And I think even just like seeing how our live show has changed over the years, like even the band members that we have now that we didn't have, you know, 5-6 years ago. I think we've got a really great team of people that like know what we're after in terms of the sound that we're going for and the fan base that we have. And it just feels like we're able to be on tour with our friends, you know, who also happen to be backing us up, you know, playing fantastic music.
Yeah. And you know what I like about what you guys are doing right now is it just feels so creatively driven from like what your music videos look like, you know, to just the themes of everything. Would there be any other creative pursuits that you guys would chase other than music?
I mean, outside of acting and music, I think that, you know, design is a huge part of what we do when it comes to our cover art, our merch. I think if Aly and I at one point, you know, started a clothing line together, it would make a lot of sense because our band is kind of a clothing line at this point in terms of our merch, and the amount of drops we do. And we look at everything like a season, and it's very, it is really, really detailed.
It's very hands-on.
Very hands-on. So I can see us entering that space at some point, but I think, I don't know, we have our hands creatively in so much. I can see us, you know, on Broadway together. I can see us doing animation together. I can see us writing for other artists, kind of everything. We're the type that try it all.
I love it. I love it. As sisters, what is the dumbest fight that you guys have ever gotten in?
We've gotten into some really dumb fights. So this is why it's hard to,
it's hard to there's so many dumb ones. They're all dumb.
Yeah, they're all dumb usually. Well, most of our fights don't really actually have to do with the music, which is funny. Like, yes, there's sometimes where like one of us might love a lyric or a melody line, the other one's like, no, I don't think this is right, you know. But most of the time it's like it's over like clothing or like ruining like a heel back that you're like you like stepped in like grass on this heel and you ruined the back of it, you know. Now I have to get it fixed, like stupid stuff like that.
I borrowed a pair of Aly's shoes to a wedding recently, and she was like, "Do not step in grass in these heels."
It came with like a warning, you know, like do not do this.
So funny.
But yeah, I mean, we've definitely had a lot of dumb fights.
It's always usually clothing based.
It's usually clothing based. It's never really been over boys, which is good.
Yeah.
We've never had any weird crossover there. Yeah, mainly clothes.
Yeah,
mainly clothes, not returning things. I tend to purge my clothes a lot and get rid of them and do like, you know, like I'll donate my clothes, but I'll also like try to sell them. And so a lot of times I'll come over to AJ's house and be like, do you want any of these items? She's like, I don't want any of these. Like, don't bring this over.
Like, so I don't want your hand-me-downs.
So that she gets upset about that. We've had multiple fights about me like dropping off clothes at her house. She's like, I don't want these. I'm like, all right, there could be some gems in here, but that's fine. It's your prerogative.
It is pretty funny.
You know what? I still love seeing that potential breakup song is on like everybody's like angsty breakup playlist. If you guys had to make an angsty breakup playlist, what are like 3 songs that would be on there?
Probably Misery Business by Paramore. That's for sure. Like, you know, part of the childhood.
Mm-hmm.
Top tier.
Who else?
Michelle Branch.
Yeah. Something from Hotel Paper for sure. Yeah. And I don't know, maybe like Avril Lavigne,
Okay.
complicated,
Yeah.
something in there.
Perfect.
Those would be part of the like teen angst.
Yeah, and all those artists make me happy.
Yeah,
Same.
same.
So we'll end on a nice nostalgic note because we're all millennials here. What was your first MySpace song that you remember having?
We had a MySpace account, but I don't think we ran it.
No.
Oh, like at your music page.
It was a music MySpace.
It was a music
for our
MySpace. I don't think we ever had a personal.
We did not have MySpace.
Okay.
Which is insane.
Did you love the emo era though, like of like 2005?
Yeah,
yeah, for sure. We were like Hot Topic kids. I mean,
Okay.
I had the fingerless gloves and everything. Like it was a whole thing. What was yours?
I did the Starting Line a lot. Taking Back Sunday, You're So Last Summer. That was actually like my MySpace.
Taking Back Sunday.
Love Taking Back Sunday.
We were like the biggest Taking Back Sunday fans.
Yeah, and then the last one I remember having was 303.
Yeah,
also great.
Yeah.
What is it? Don't touch.
Don't trust a hoe.
Don't trust a hoe.
I said don't touch a hoe.
What is an emo trend that you think we should bring back, even if it's really ugly?
Oh,
studded belts. The ones that look like dangerous.
Yeah, yes. Studded belts. That was
that is also very Avril Lavigne.
It's very Avril.
Also the creepers, that was a big thing. I feel like that's still in. Like people wearing the kind of creeper like shoe that's like a Mary Jane.
Fingerless gloves.
Fingerless gloves. Although that trend can stay. Like I don't need that trend back in my life. Yeah.
And cell phone that you wish they would bring back because you miss it.
Blackberry.
Which one though? The slide or the like just
no, just the good old fashioned.
The normal just flat keyboard.
AJ and I were so
BBM
obsessed with our Blackberries, and we held on to them for so long to the point where like everybody was getting, an iPhone at that point, and we were like, nope. I'm still Blackberry, and then eventually we gave in.
Yeah,
there was nothing more flirtatious than noticing a guy has a Blackberry and asking for his BBM.
Yeah. Totally,
BBM was the best.
It was the best. It was that's an era that only certain people will know the magic of. Like
Sidekicks, I'm like, no, that never needs to come back.
Yeah, I agree. And that weird sound. Yeah, no.
Yeah. Well, thank you guys so much for taking the time to talk to me. As always, a fan, and hopefully I'll be able to catch one of your shows soon.
Oh, yeah. We love that.
Thanks, Julia. You're in New York, right?
I'm in Detroit.
Oh, you're in Detroit.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we stop through Detroit most of the time. So the next time we come through, we'll let you know.
We're there in April.
Well, and I'm no stranger to travel for a show. So.
Oh, love that.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
A show traveler.
Bye, guys. Have the rest of your day.